guys, so today we're gonna look at some Chinese books. I have received a lot of comments asking me what books are you reading, what is the best book if I'm a beginner, do you have any recommendations for more advanced Mandarin learners. So today we shall look at my tiny book collection I have collected so far. As you can see, it's already quite a few books, but all at different levels of Mandarin and Chinese reading, so I'm gonna take a look at that. As for the first book I've ever read in Chinese was at the university, and we read this one. This is 许三观卖血记. This is a very famous book, like every Chinese teenager kid has read this in school, so it's quite a classic. It's about a family, especially Xu Sanguan, who is the main protagonist, who wants to have a family, later on marries and has kids, and there's constantly problems at home, and the kids also causing problems, and also with the political changes in China. So it's actually a very good book. As you can see, there's a lot of annotations. This is, I think, something you will have to just go through. Just take a book and start reading it. I know sometimes it's really hard because when you start, like when I see the first chapter, immediately there were like so many words I didn't know that were new to me, and I just marked them, wrote down the opinion of it and the according translation. And I guess it's just hard work until you finally realize after a few chapters that you've studied so many characters passively while not actually writing them but just reading them. And it's something that's very difficult, yes. However, you will see progress in like 3 to 4 weeks, so that is quite something to do. Anyways, so we will move on. The second book I've read in Mandarin was here, 一地鸡毛. So this book is a collection of short stories by the author, and we've read the last short story. Again, it's about a protagonist who marries, and later on they have children. There's problems with their working lives, and the wife wants to change her working place, and just daily kind of stories from their daily lives, and how they struggle with hierarchy at their job, as well as in other cases, and some corrupt persons disturbing their lives, and so on. As you can see, the level from Xu Sanguan to this book is actually quite huge. I remember this was, I think we've read Xu Sanguan in my second year of university, and this one we started reading in my third year in autumn, and we've only read that for the first semester in autumn, and then later on we moved on directly to a new book, which is 天黑得很慢. So this is about an old man who needs a caretaker for him, who comes like a professional nurse that comes to his house to see how he is with health and stuff, because his daughter is actually quite busy and she doesn't live at his house anymore, and so on. So there's complications here again as well, also going into daily lives of elders in China, their problems and health problems, and how children take care of their parents and stuff like this. And as you can see, the annotations have lessened and lessened. You don't see that many more in comparison to the first book I've read in Chinese,许三观. Just a second. As you can see, the difference is quite big, at least in my opinion. But the book to read is actually quite nice. It's very flowy. It's actually also quite interesting, sometimes even a bit funny. It has also a bit of a sense of humor, especially许三观is actually sometimes very funny. So I think it's a very good read for the first time. Of course, it is very difficult because it also has a lot of like old words, old Mandarin words, but also a lot of like conversations that isn't as much stylistic or literature like, but more of like conversing from person to person. So I think you will also learn quite a few sentences you can actually use in your daily conversations here also sometimes. And the last book we have read at university was quite a big project by Yan, and this one, I don't even know what to say about this. It's a classic, it's a Chinese classic that everyone has to read. It's more like in the ancient times, to say, or with a family and a man who has married several times, but the women are never able to bear one of his children. They always die after they get pregnant, or they die while giving birth. So it's quite heavy topics being talked about. So if you're not into, I guess, kind of violent themes, also kind of it's not directly, but it's not directly stated, but it's very much so indicated that there's also a case of rape. And yeah, so here the annotations, as you can see, increased again a lot, since this book is extremely difficult. In my opinion, there were so many things I just did not understand. There were also many of ancient Chinese proverbs in it that I had to translate first into the standard Mandarin nowadays, to then realize what it actually means in English or in German. So it's a lot of work to put in, and our teacher wanted us to read one chapter for each week, which was basically not possible, because I think one chapter has about 20 or 25 pages, and before that, with these 3 books, we've only had to read 5 to 6 pages until every class. So that increased a lot, and I think it took me for half a chapter like 6 hours. So this one is a very tough read. So if you really want to have a challenge and you're interested in more the olden times of China and society, then this is a book for you. But it really wasn't for me. But there's also been books I've bought myself, and some things I can definitely recommend you if you don't really want to go straight into just text as we did at university, and maybe also have a bit more of a light reading, then I can recommend you some manhwas. So basically in print version, because then you can annotate, you can write in stuff, you can highlight words, and so on and so on. And also the pictures sometimes help you to understand what's actually going on, what is being said. And this book I have quite much read even without any annotations, because I got this when I finished the second and third book at university, so I was already used to having literature before me. And then I got this off of Amazon. You can get them. I'll try to find the links and link them down below. But this one is 我不喜欢这世界，我只喜欢你. So it's actually quite cute. It's most of a romance book. But if you really want to try something out for the first time and you're still scared of full Chinese texts, this is the book to go. But if you are an advanced reader, more like me, but still want something like more light-hearted and not so much university book style, then I can definitely recommend you this one. This, I haven't finished it yet. I started it, but I didn't have any time to read for like almost half a year because I was constantly working, part-time working, and also studying, so I didn't have that much time. But I really want to get back into the book, but I think I'll have to start reading it from the beginning, because I still don't really much know about what is happening here. But it's actually, I think, it's actually a Japanese author, but it was translated into Mandarin. Even though it's maybe not original language Chinese, I still think it's a good book, and you may have a look at it. It's also kind of romance themed. It's also got two people meeting and so on and so on. Then I also have these two other books. I've seen my cover. It's quite actually very bad, but anyways, this one is 你是我的荣耀, and this is 撒娇. I think if you're really advanced, and if you can read these two quite well without any issues or less annotations, then I can definitely recommend you to moving on to these two. They're quite more complicated, quite more, this one especially, because this book is about two gamers. I think, is this the one? I'm not so sure. But I think there's like some scenes that are very difficult to understand because it's more like fantasy theme, and here it's just more difficult style the author chose. So I would really be careful with this one. Don't read this one if you haven't read all these other books I've shown you. But can we quickly appreciate the cover? That's also something I wanted to address. Chinese cover books in comparison to like German or English books. Crazy. But yes, anyways, so those are my book recommendations. As for now, if you still have more questions regarding those books, please feel free to ask them in the comment section below, and I'll try to link down every book. I'll try to find them online and put them down in the description box, and I guess we'll see each other in another video. Bye.